Kayla Brock. First, I'm going to show you guys this video.
Because I love you. I want to be your only guy.
Because I love you. Sit class with me. Let's stay in bed together.
Because I love you, I just want to be with you so freaking much. Because I love you.
I waited for you after Chem Lab.
You were walking with Mark.
Because I love you.
You shouldn't be hanging out with that dude.
You should know how dumb that makes me look. I don't care if she's your lab partner.
Why do you have texts from him?
Because I love you. This number, delete.
Because I love you. This Jason number
Delete.
and Ben.
Delete.
Because I love you, I should smash your phone.
I'll let you give me your password instead. Because I love you.
I will check your texts every day.
You got lucky. Because I love you. Because I love you.
You think it's okay?
Because I love you. You understand?
Because I love you. You stop talking to your classmates. You feel completely alone.
In my family, the term abusive is a common phrase that can come up in conversation. That is because my uncle used to abuse my aunt and cousins. Anytime they would come around us, we would have to pretend that the bruises did not exist, and we would have to avoid certain words as they were emotional triggers. As college students, we are becoming our own person out from under our family. We are trying different things, and we are forming our own relationships. By the end of this speech, I intend to ensure that you guys will be able to recognize the signs and symptoms of physical abuse, emotional abuse, as well as know why it's not easy for one to get out of an abusive relationship. I hope you guys can use these signs and symptoms to evaluate your own interpersonal relationships to see if they are healthy. First, I want to examine physical abuse. When most people hear the term abusive, they automatically think of physical, because physical abuse is the easiest abuse to notice. In the academic journal titled physical signs of abuse are listed. These can include hitting, shaking, throwing, or even suffocating. Physical abuse can also be sexual abuse, where through seduction or coercion, one is forced to have sexual intercourse that they did not consent to. In this journal, it also talks about how medical professionals are trained to recognize signs and symptoms of physical abuse, because sometimes the victims do not want to report the abuse in fear of retaliation. So it talks about how medical professionals are trained to recognize black eyes, broken bones that have not healed properly, and even traumatic alopecia, which is a loss of hair. Now that physical abuse signs have been defined, let's talk about the harder ones to see, through emotional abuse. When I think of abusive relationships, I no longer think of just physical because of what happened to my aunt. In the academic journal, When Your Life Is Not Your Own, there are emotional abuse stories and testimonies given. In this article, it mainly explains warning signs and symptoms through mental health and advocacy. Most people do not believe their relationship is abusive because their partner does not hit them. Emotional abuse in interpersonal relationships usually starts out as perfect and completely romantic in the beginning. Your partner will be charming in public, but they will be completely different when you two are alone. Your partner will seem extremely jealous when you guys are out with people, depending on how people act towards you and how you act towards other people. And when they lash out at you, they will always come back with apologies, flowers, basically anything to get you back, therefore endangering your mental health and forcing you into submission. More specifically, the signs can include isolation from your friends and family, emotional withdrawal, increased anxiety, nervousness, and depression. Emotional abuse and physical abuse can go hand in hand. Even if one person knows that they are in an abusive relationship, they may not always have the resources to get out. With my family, my aunt stayed because of her abuser's financial support. In the academic journal, Women's Experiences of Abuse, women share personal accounts of abuse. These women use methods of rationalization to stay in their relationships. These methods of rationalization included assuming responsibility for their sick partners, saying that it was due to poor circumstances such as a loss of job, loss of income, or even a death in the family, or they would even return to routine life and pretend that it never even happened. These women blame themselves and they believe that no one else will love them, or that her religious or societal beliefs will keep her in that relationship because she does not want to remarry. Most women from the journal said that they had to leave and return to their abuser multiple times before they were finally gone for good. Most women never called the police for fear of embarrassment or fear of retaliation from their abuser. Most of the women feared that the police would not believe them or that their abuser would take away their financial support or security. In multiple of the academic journals used, there was recommendations for future research and prevention. But my main goal has been to share and inform students of the simple fact that abusive relationships are not only just physical. In conclusion, most people don't realize it if they are in that situation that their relationship has become abusive. And most people don't know how devastating the consequences of abusive relationships can be. I hope you all learn that abuse needs to cease, and no matter how small or big the abuse is, there will always be outlets to get help. On EKU's campus, you can get help through Green Dot, but if you do not want to get help on campus, EKU has an association with Hope's Wings, which has a domestic violence shelter off campus. Thank you.
Kayla,
Would you consider jealousy just like a warning sign that this could happen? Like I know nowadays, like with social media, especially like people get jealous, and like if you comment on somebody else, stuff like that.